everyone. So today, my presentation of today will be about technology. As Ben mentioned, this is something that comes after what we normally cover in processes, and organization or people. This is a very important topic, but before we jump right into that, I want to stress we or I speak for myself. I've never seen business problems completely solved by tools or completely caused by tools. So sometimes there are underlying reasons in the organization of the company, in the processes of the company that cause some issues, and these issues may exacerbated by bad tools, so badly used tools. So just to be clear, it's better to be a well-run company with bad tools that a badly run company with good tools. That said, having good tools can make the company much better and improve the operations. So we'll go through that, and I go through what the normal process we go through when we analyze the tech stack and how it can make the company operations better. Let me share my screen. So right now, what you see here, this is basically the starting point of the first say analysis that we do related to how we approach technology and tech stack. So normally, what we first do is we review what are the macro processes and the macro activities that the companies executes. So this is our framework that we use for the value chain, and we analyze which activities and processes the company executes and what are the pain points in the activities that the company executes. So this is a professional services firm. There are several areas where there are some gaps. These are the red stickers. You can see that there is no sales and marketing function. Conversely, there are no dedicated tools to that. There are no specific onboarding for the tech, and no dedicated person. Asana as a task management that is partly used, partly not. So what we do, we start from the business problem, and we try to assess what are the business problems. With the same structure, we then look into the technology, the technology equivalent. So same company, we map along the same dimension, along the same phases of the value chain, which tools are currently used. So you can see here the same phases. You can see which tool or tools they use for the people management, payroll, contracting, the performance. Technology, we mean email platform, file storage, and collaboration in general. For finance, you can see multiple software in the finance for accounting, for invoicing, and for all the finance and admin related activities. Then for administration, we see for time tracking, Clotify, and then in the main business related activities, we see a lot of we see that Asana is used basically throughout, say the process cycle of a client project, from the lead, say the marketing, the client onboarding, the project or service delivery, the project completion. And we see that also there are other tools that are used along these phases. You can have Excel templates, you can have Word documents for proposals, for standard proposals, and you can have other tools depending on the specific project. So here, what we do, we try to map a simple mapping of what are the tools that are currently used and what are the issues. So we see that several issues are related to, not really to the tools per se. Sometimes you have tools that are not used. You have very complete tool sets like Max 365 that could take care of most of your activities, but is not you have very good tool for tracking team time like Clockify, but is not integrated with the Asana project, so there is no integration. You have no visibility over how actually your team spends the time. Then again, we have Asana for project delivery, for the client onboarding, and also for the sales and marketing, even though it's not a tool that is actually born for being used as CRM. But the issues that we normally see are not normally related to the tool itself, but more on the way that the tool is used. Sometimes the tool is not fully adopted, so you have templates for the team to use. You have tasks for each project, but the team doesn't use the tool or doesn't 100% use the tool with full compliance. So we map all the issues that we see for all the tools, and we try to get a sense. And again, the more tools that you have, and potentially the more issues that you generate, because having more tools normally either means having more integrations or having more manual alignment between different tools, or anyway multiple training for the team to use the different tools. So we really try, when we look at the tech stack, try to imagine what is the simplest possible setup, the simplest possible tech stack that does the job. So we map the current tools, we map the issues. Then what we do, we assess each tool. We assess where we say the truth in very almost religious way, where the data, where the master data of each company activity, of each company database is stored. So for instance, where can I find in the company the payroll information, the contracts? Where can I find in the company the client contracts, the approvals? Where can I find the invoices? Where can I find the open tasks? So the idea here is really to make sure that the tools that are being used in the company, they are what we say MISI, which means mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive, so that they don't overlap, but also they don't leave any gap. So we make sure that all the phases are covered. We know exactly where I can find the data if I'm looking for it, and if there is any gap in the integration between the different tools. So here, this is one template that we use. We have the different tools. We see what data can I expect to find there, what data I don't expect to find there, which tools it does or it should be integrated with, as well as some comments. So this phase is about mapping the data and making sure that everything is covered. Then sometimes we also evaluate whether it makes sense to keep using some tools or not. So we do an inventory for the different tools used in the company, and also potentially that the company could adopt in terms of, here we can see several examples of tools. What do they do? How many licenses you have, need, the cost, if there are some issues or gaps to keep in mind, scalability, because normally we work with growing companies. So you want to make sure that the tool will serve the purpose also 1 or 2 years from now. And we make a list of all the software that is being used at the moment. So once we do the mapping, the issues, we map where the data is stored, where the truth is stored. We have an inventory on the software. We can draw an ideal or a proposed tech stack. Go to this one. A proposed tech stack for a company. So this is a future landing state for the company. So you can see here, compared to the original one, that is similar, but still simplified in several aspects. So what we did here is we tried to replace wherever possible, where we had multiple systems or systems that are not fit for the purpose. For instance, here we had Asana, which is a great task management tool, but we thought it makes sense to have a tool like Zoho. It doesn't matter if you know it, but it's kind of a more comprehensive suite of tools for small businesses that can cover finance, accounting, administrative tasks, as well as also business processes like sales and marketing, task management, and so on. So here we propose some changes. Some are related to new tools. Some are related to using the tools that are existing in a better way. So, for instance, Clockify is, in this case, was a tool that was perfectly fit for the purpose. So the only gap there was the integration. So this is something to take care, and you don't need to change, the tool there. And we try to define a future state for the company. And again, I want to stress that this is the end state of the company. This is what we recommend, and this is something that could be implemented in 1 year or longer, especially when you are dealing with accounting system. You may need to align to the calendar year or to the financial year in order to do the migration. So this is a desired future system that minimizes the number of tools and minimizes the disruption. But in between, even before implementing this new tech stack, there are several things that you can. Even in the current state, and this is actually what we are doing at the moment with our client, there are several optimizations that you can make even with the current tech stack. As I mentioned, right now we have several. We have even too many tools to choose from, and the general quality of the tools, I would say, is quite high. So it's very difficult that the tool itself is the bottleneck, but sometimes it's more about the way it's used. And so what you can do even with current tech stack is to improve the use, the adoption, and the friction points that you have. So during the migration towards the new tech stack, what you can do even with the current systems, you can work on integration. You can work on training the team for compliance, for adoption. You can improve the templates that you have when you have standard documents, when you have templates for proposals. You can basically work on improving the current tools that you have. Sometimes a lot of work is also done not in replacing systems, but also in actually my favorite exercise is killing systems. So removing tools wherever possible. So We saw here a starting state and a future tech stack as an end state. The overall point is you need to be clear on what are the issues that you have in each area. Most likely they are business-related issues that are exacerbated by bad tools or badly used tools. The first recourse is trying to improve the utilization, improving the integration among tools, improving the training. And then you can also look into replacing them with the tools that are better suited for the job. And you can plan a migration towards that. And these are the different activities that you can do. Once you decide that you want to change a tool and you're looking for the best tools to replace several phases or several activities in your company, what we normally do is we take a structured approach and we do a benchmarking on the potential tools that are out there. So this is an example of a benchmarking that we did for. This is actually for an agency. So we were looking for a tool that is as complete and end-to-end as possible for agency, and that could cover as many phases as possible. So you can see here the different tools that we evaluated and the phases that we wanted to, or we target to cover for our client. So we did a benchmarking and we compared which tool had which feature. We'd also kept in mind how much a tool was recognized, popular, and also common, because then you want to have something that is well supported and is not likely to be not supported 1 year from now. And sometimes we saw that happening with some niche tools. We keep in mind price clearly. We keep in mind the general evaluation of reviews for the tools. One thing that I want to stress, or at least is one of the points that I'm most interested when I look at new tools, is also the ability to integrate with other tools. So here we summarize that with Zapier integration, which is a bit of a standard in the no-code space and in the tools for a small company. But what we want to make sure is that when we replace a tool or we insert a new one, the ability to integrate with other tools, the ability to share data is there. We don't want to have integration pains or migration pains where we move to a new tool. So this is one aspect that the integration with other systems is something that we keep in mind. Even if the tool is almost end-to-end and you don't have many other tools integrating with that, or you don't have any other needs, I think is a good sign, the fact that the system is open, the system is easy to integrate and to expand. That's a good sign that the tool can be used in the company for the years to come. So this is the way we approach the selection of tools. Again, we try to leverage the most the existing tools. We try to simplify and minimize the number of tools used. And once we select the tools, we try to be very deliberate and very systematic when it comes to selecting the tools, so that we don't have to go through the main exercise in another. So, and this is the way we approach it. So let me review recap the main points on how to make the tech stack, your company tech stack, work for you. Point number one is mapping and analyzing your current processes and the tech stack. I'm emphasizing here the current processes because normally we see that bottlenecks and problems are rarely caused by tools themselves, but they could be made worse by the tools, but normally they are the symptoms of either process or organizational issues. So you wanna map those issues, you wanna tackle them first from a process and organization perspective, and then you look at the tech. Then once you look at the tech, you identify the tech-related issues. Typical ones are low adoption, tools are not integrated, people don't know how to use the tools. Sometimes you are missing features. That's a little bit less of a problem right now because we are swamped with tools. But you classify all the tech-related issues and you try to address all of them when you define the future state. You want to be clear of where your company where your company data is stored. So where is the client information? Where is the accounting information? Where is the pricing information? Where is the time tracking data of the people? There should be a single place where the data is stored, and there should be no doubt about that. So you don't want to have a company where the salesperson is looking for pricing in one place and maybe the account manager or another employee is looking for pricing in another place. You want to have a single source of truth. Otherwise, you will have inconsistent data, you will have issues in your day-to-day. When you look at your tech tools, you focus on the ones that have issues, you can evaluate alternatives. My personal suggestion is replacing tools is always painful. So the first option that I recommend to evaluate is at least try to imagine what is the best case scenario if you use the existing tools in the best possible way. If the adoption is 100%, if the tools are integrated, if everything is used the way it's supposed to be used, would this current tool do the job, or still it would not be ideal for the process? If the answer is the latter, if the tool is not good anymore for the phases, then you should evaluate replacing the existing tools with alternative ones. Be very deliberate, be very slow in jumping into a new tool. Take the time to evaluate, take the time to do 1 or more or 3 demos to make sure that the new tool will fit the requirement of your company. Point number 5, I think, is the most important. Don't get fooled by feature FOMO. FOMO meaning fear of missing out. There are right now many tools, and they are very appealing, attractive, and sometimes we want to have the latest and greatest tool with AI features, with integration, with all the shiny toys that the latest sexy tools offer, and many times you don't need that. You really need a tailored and simple tool that covers, say, your key features. Nice to have features. They could be interesting, but they are normally nice to have. You would likely not use them, and it would probably just confuse your team if you have very comprehensive feature-rich tools. So really don't be driven by let's get the most feature-rich tool, but rather be driven by we want to get the tool that is exactly made for us, that covers exactly our need, but don't go overboard with the features. When you define the tech stack, either your new one or you want to improve the existing one, I recommend that you maximize the following dimensions. Number one is simplicity. So keep it very, very simple. If you can have one tool that cover two activities, two phases at 90% of the requirement, as opposed to having two tools that cover the two phases with 100% of the requirement. I don't want to generalize, but normally I would try to have a one tool, even with a little bit less coverage for the sake of simplicity. So rather than having the best, the greatest tool for each phases, if you have less tools that cover well enough multiple phases, this is normally better, and you will have way less issues down the line. That said, you will for sure have multiple tools in your companies. Make sure that you keep in mind integration across tools. You don't want to be moving pricing, invoices, time logs across systems. So keep the integration across systems in mind so that you don't have to maintain consistency in the data yourself manually, or worse, having inconsistent data across the system. Number three, whatever tech stack you define, whatever system you install, that is just the beginning of the work. The real work is making sure that the team uses the system, and this is where we find that companies have the biggest problems. So they have great tools, but the team don't use them. They don't use them because sometimes they have not been trained. They don't see the value. Maybe the tools have not been configured properly. Maybe the managers don't use them, so they don't set a good example. So the adoption is really the never-ending and most important task that require consistent hammering, training of the team to make sure that there is no drifting, and the team starts creating the well-known Excels, the spreadsheets being sent via email. So if you want to avoid those custom tools or underground tools, you need to make sure that your tech stack is being maintained and explained to the full company. This is the most important part. So really focus on the adoption and dedicate a lot of energy to that, because it will require much more effort than whatever you estimate, and it almost never is. So these are the elements. Again, tech stack is very important. It is an amplifier for your company operations. If you select it well, it can make your life much easier, and the steps to follow are they are not complex, but they definitely require consistency. Thank you for your attention.